Two AEW stars are reportedly being teased to jump ship to WWE. We're going to talk about who that may be and who we know it's not going to be. No, it's not Chris Jericho. No, it's Private Party. Trust me, you're going to want to watch that. Also, WWE is experimenting with a new change. We talked about it before. We got more details on that. And yes, we are going to talk about a major change happening on AEW Wrestling. If you guys want more videos like this, don't forget to click that subscribe button and ring that bell. This way you get notified of all the newest videos, everything that's happening in professional wrestling. For example, WWE Raw is experimenting with the change. We talked about this a little bit before, but now we got some new updates on this. WWE, as you guys know, for a long time was on the 8 p.m. time slot. Well, for the next 3 weeks, starting today, we are going to see that WWE Raw, it will start next week, September 15th. WWE Raw will begin at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, this is something that I think a lot of people have been curious about. Wrestling News Co. first reported this change a while ago. WrestleVotes and many others have also chimed in. The temporary time change was made to test how the show performs against the biggest competitor to WWE programming, which is Monday Night Football. And as you guys know, with Monday Night Football, it's obviously been a big deal. WWE has struggled against Monday Night Football in years past. Also, this time coming around with just the way things are. Obviously, WWE's on Netflix. Monday Night Football, it's everywhere. A lot of people love football, especially in America. It's a big deal. The 7 p.m. Eastern time change is an experiment. A lot of times people believe that this was a permanent change. We do not have confirmation that it is, in fact, a permanent change. However, it does make a lot of sense for Netflix to start at 7 p.m. In fact, I would like to believe that Raw on 7 p.m. would actually be a better change permanently. I think you will see them have a lot of success against Monday Night Football making this change. And I think Netflix executives and WWE will come together, and I think TKO will probably make the change permanent after doing this experiment. I think, 2.5 hours, 3 hours of Raw, it would be nice. If it started at 7 p.m. and it ended at 10 p.m., I think that is huge. You also have to remember that there are going to be double headers on Monday Night Football. So this is a way for WWE to kind of be a little bit more competitive towards that. Let's be real. Professional wrestling is awesome. We all love professional wrestling, but many wrestling fans also like sports, and it is hard to compete against sports. So Monday Night Football definitely will have an impact on Monday Night Raw. But I do believe if WWE makes this permanent change, it will be less of a significant impact on WWE Raw, and therefore it just makes all the sense in the world to make it permanent. Starting September 15th, you guys can expect it 7 p.m. Eastern. What's the runtime on those shows? WWE will probably be closely monitoring Monday Night Football. That brings us to our next topic, guys. Let's talk about it. AEW is making a major change, and this is one that I think actually is good, right? Like, this is one of those things where the idea is for wrestler safety. So there was a new report that came from Fightful Select, and there's a couple production changes the company has made. Now, the company is temporarily moving away from using LED ring aprons and barricades. This was a decision that was reportedly made for reasons, which was basically due to audience reaction, but most importantly, wrestler safety. According to the Fightful Select report, the temporary switch back to standard non-LED barricades and simpler ring aprons was an adjustment made due to the concerns from the talent. There was a number of talent that basically complained because they got banged up from injuries, or just it was just a little too rough being, thrown against the apron or thrown against the barricade. Talent and staff told Fightful that they much prefer the standard barricades, but understand the visual need for LED boards. So AEW has made that change. It honestly makes a lot of sense. I get it. I could see why AEW would do this, and I have no problem with it. I actually think the LED boards and the barricades are cool, but WWE already does that, right? And I think with AEW, you don't want your product to look 100% like WWE, which is hard because Mike Manzuri, the guy that heads the production for the company, was somebody who used to work in WWE. And I feel like a lot of people didn't like that change. LED ring boards and aprons, a lot of people thought it was too much in WWE. And then when AEW did it, they're like, why are you guys copying WWE with this? You don't need to. Especially if wrestlers are getting banged up from it, if wrestlers are feeling the impact of it, it almost doesn't really make sense to do it, right? So I actually welcome the change. I think AEW is pretty smart. I think what AEW should do, and maybe you guys will agree or disagree, please let me know. But I think what WWE and AEW should do is just get rid of it altogether, but for big time events, use it. Like once in a while, like AEW All In. You want to make it look like a spectacle and you want LED boards everywhere and you want to do that kind of thing. Go ahead and do it. You know, like let's not mess around here. Let's just be real. Let's not mess around here. Use the production visual elements to make things bigger, especially because at a time where we don't have too many special stage designs for pay-per-views, that's when it makes the most sense. Like at that point, just go all out with the decor, with the lights, with the visuals. But for regular TV, I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's really worth the risk, especially if talent are not happy with it, especially if they're concerned about their safety and they're feeling banged up. Yeah, I think this is the right call by AEW, and it makes a lot of sense, and I'm all for it. That brings us to our final topic, ladies and gentlemen. 2 AEW stars are being teased to jump ship to WWE. This has become a fascinating story. A lot of people thought, okay, maybe it's Chris Jericho, maybe it's Private Party. Here is what we know. AEW, according to Cody Rhodes from PWN, Pro Wrestling Nexus has been really, really, really good about information and leaks. They've teamed up with bodyslam.net. They have dropped a ton of scoops. Now, they are teasing that 2 people are jumping ship this year to WWE. We've been told that it's not a tag team, and we've been told that it is a person who has held a championship belt in AEW this year. Now, I personally went through the history of champions in 2025, and any of the people who have held belts on the main AEW roster do not make sense whatsoever. Like, in the slightest, none of it is making sense. So I can only speculate based on what we know. But if you look at Ring of Honor, Sammy Guevara is somebody who comes to mind. Sammy Guevara going to WWE could make a lot of sense. I don't think Sammy Guevara really has benefited at all being in AEW in the past year or two. And of course, we know that he's had some success as a champion in Ring of Honor. So obviously I'm very excited to see what could potentially happen there. But there is nobody else I could think of on this list. And I think whoever decides to leave AEW and go to WWE, you have to be careful. The grass isn't always greener on the other side. We've seen people leave WWE and go to AEW and they haven't been treated the best. We've seen people go from AEW to WWE and they haven't always been treated the best. Ricky and Jade Cargill and Ethan Page have done extremely well. Lexus King, he's found consistent TV time and he's found a new character, but it's not like everybody just gets this massive push. You have to understand there is a difference between being utilized and then being given a huge push. And I think sometimes people think the grass is always greener. I don't think that's the case. I like the idea of people switching companies. I'm always going to be a fan of it, regardless of which company they go to. It keeps things fresh. Who do you guys think it's going to be? I don't know. Maybe you guys know, but I'll keep you guys updated as we learn more.